Welcome to a new series on YouTube. Lachlan 2612 Sports Channel here, and we are going to be going back to the 1990s. First, we rewrite history to see what would happen between 1990 and 1999. But first, we're going to have to start with season 1990, the first year of the decade. The decade began with Footscray battling to survive after the AFL the then VFL had projected they would merge with Fitzroy. That led to Mick Mulder spiraling out on the club to go coach a team full of Western Australian representatives known as the West Coast Eagles. Tony McGuinness, in his timeline, he bailed out to go to Adelaide for season 1990. With this one, we got 4 teams coming in: the Adelaide Crows, the Fremantle Dockers, the Port Magpies, and the Ballarat Celtics, who will all come in for season 1990. As we sim through the season all the way to round 23 to see how the teams will do. Simulation ready in 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the final standings for season 1990. The Ballarat Celtics. Man, they've had what was one of their worst seasons in decades. In 1990, the Ballarat Celtics have had their worst AFL season of all time. They would finish bottom of the ladder without a single win. It's a grim reality going on in Ballarat. Let's check the stats for teams. Who's leading the goal kicking for the Celtics? It's John Klug. He leads the goal kicking with 37 goals. And 30 behinds. For a team that is in last place in the 1990 season. Out of the Eastern Park C7 players, Lachlan Brown has played 22 games and mainly spent a lot of time at centre-half back. Cameron Caldwell has played 20 games this season for the Celtics. As for the Marlins, however, Alex has played 22 games, Charlie played 19, while Sophie and Fraser have played 21 games each. In what was one of the worst teams in AFL history. Second bottom is the Sydney Swans. They've avoided the wooden spoon by a whopping 7 wins. Who led the goal kicking this season for Sydney? Let's check to see. It is... Oh, it's Ian Roberts! Even Ian Roberts managed to lead the goal kicking. And he's kicked 56 goals. I thought someone like a Jim West or a Shane Fowler would probably lead the goal kicking that year. Like they did in real life. Sixteenth on the ladder is the Fitzroy Lions. Man, Fitzroy are having a poor year in 1990. Also with 8 wins. Let's check to see who led the goal kicking for the Lions. In the real 1990 season, Tony Liberatore won the Brownlow medal, but in this universe, he's only played one game! Oh dear, the Brownlow medalist didn't even play. Richard Osborne would lead the goal kicking for Fitzroy. Footscray's best goal kicker is it's the plough, Terry Wallace. Carlton's best is Shade Smith on 55 goals. Port Adelaide. Are you taking the absolute mickey? Mark Tyler, 76 goals. Troy Bond, 68. Bruce Abernethy, 65. David Brown, 59. Jared Young, on his debut season, 57 goals. Congrats, brother. "57 goals. What a year! I reckon you won the 1990 Rising Star. And Scott Hodges stuck on 19 goals. How many games did he have? He's had 6 games, but he spent most of the year out injured. Same with Tony Liberatore. The Eagles' best goal kicker is Peter Sumich on 78 goals. Richmond's best is Michael Pickering on 61. Matty Greenwood, 27 in his first year. St Kilda's best goal kicker, of course, it's one Tony Lockett on 66 goals. Hawthorn. Are you kidding me? Chris Whitman led the goal kicking on 68. It's Jason Dunstall's team. How did he manage to beat the Chief? Collingwood's best, Doug Barwick on 62. Sydney's best, we already looked through Sydney. The Dockers' best goal kicker is Scott Edwards on 55. Followed by Toby Collinson, John Hutton and Stephen Jackson. Potty's got 35, Heath's got 19, while Joss has got 4 this season. Troy Newman. He only played 1 game this season. Anyone remember him? He was 30 years ago. He did a hit called "Love Gets Rough," and that went number 22 on the charts in 1991. He's only played once this season for the Dockers. He could be looking for a change of career. He could be looking to go do music. I think he's better off sticking with music. Mark Harvey's got 53 goals this season for Essendon. Melbourne's best goal kicker is Glenn Lovett on 63, closely followed by Alan Jakovic on 61. Geelong's best It's Barry Stoneham on 60 goals. Gary Ablett's only got 5. And he spent most of the year as a defender. Brisbane Bears, their best player in front of goal is Brad Rowe with 62. Adelaide Crows. It's more of a team effort out there. Mackerel 63, Libtac 56, Lindner 53, Hall 50, Russell 46, Modra 41. Alex Scott, he hasn't played yet in 1990. He's targeting 1993 as his first year in the league. How many games? Adam Hamilton's had 21 this season for the Crows. Anyway, let's go to the finals. West Coast versus Collingwood. And the winner of that game... Hang on a minute. Let's check that. Let's go back to the ladder before we go to finals. How did Richmond manage to finish 3rd? Out of all places. Fourteenth is the Rose, with Carlton 15th. Sitting in 13th. It's the team that made the grand final in real life that season. That's the Bombers. And that's the Bombers. They finished 13th in 1990. And that's a far cry from second in real life. 12th on the ladder is the Fremantle Dockers. Eleventh on the ladder is Footscray. Just 12 months after it looked like they were gonna be out of the competition. Tenth is St Kilda, with Big Tiny on the team. Melbourne just missed the finals. They finished 9th. The draft wasn't that much important back then because teams are mainly recruiting from within their still doing zones back most of the time, and also the main focus was the March pre-season draft back then. The Bears have made the finals. The Crows just snuck in, but at 7th spot. Geelong finished 6th. Fifth on the ladder for 1990. In 1990 is Hawthorn. The Celtics will need to improve in 1991. I reckon they're going to have to need the March draft badly. Collingwood finished fourth on the ladder. Third is Richmond. How did Kevin... Richmond, third. Richmond. Under Kevin Bartlett, third place. Under Kevin Bartlett. You know, the guy couldn't even get over the bottom two, got bottom six. That's Tigers coach in real life. Maybe they must have sacked him halfway through the season. And brought in someone like, maybe they could have brought in someone like Neil Barb. Just steady to ship halfway through the year. Coming out of Nord. Second on the ladder is Port Adelaide, while top of the table, with a whopping percentage, is the West Coast Eagles. West Coast in the qualifying final have got Collingwood. Let's see who takes up, who gets the goes through to the next round of finals. Will it be the West Coast Eagles with a team full of Western Australians, or will it be Collingwood, the real life premiers? It's the Eagles winning by 103 points to book a spot in the preliminary final. Richmond have got Port Adelaide in this game. Can Port settle the scores here? Hodges. There's Scott Hodges. Where the hell's Darren? There's Darren Smith. He's in. Let's see who wins. It's the Port Magpies. Who knows? Maybe we might see West Coast and Port Adelaide in the 1990 Grand Final. The Hawks and the Bears. Will Brisbane live their fairy tale dream and go to the next round of finals, or will Hawthorn keep their run going and make it to yet another final? It's the Hawks who get the win. Next up, it's the Cats and the Crows. Can the Crows get a win on the board? In this game. In this game, I decided to give Filkey a run. That means I put Michael Rannon in the ruck for this one with Mecken playing off the bench. And the winner is... oh no! A team full of South Australia representatives are out! They got home! The Cats go through to the next round of finals for 1990. And they're going to face Richmond, while Hawthorn are going to face Collingwood. And the winner of this semi-final is... it's the Magpies. Hawthorn's chances of winning their third premiership in a row have come to an end. Come to a crashing end. As for Richmond, their dream season is over. Geelong go through to the next round to face the West Coast Eagles, of course. Led by the Western Australian representatives. Let's see if a team full of Western Australians could go through to the grand final for 1990. Or will it be the Magpies? Or will it be the Cats who will triumph? This is the pre-match for the 1992 and 1994 grand finals. This one's who will win the pre-match? It's the Eagles. The Eagles win the pre-match for the 92 and 94 deciders by 75 points. Here we go, the Battle of the Magpies. Which Magpies are going to the grand final? Will it be will it be the Port variant, or will it be the Collingwood variant? Or should I say, will it be the Magpies of the Port Will it be the Magpies of the Port variety, or the Magpies of the Collingwood variety? Let's see who will go through to the 1990 AFL Grand Final. Will it be the Port Magpies? Or will it be the... hang on, already said that. And the winner is... it's Port Adelaide. The South Australian Magpies are in the big one against the West Coast Eagles. And this grand final is it's at the MCG. And we still at the old Southern stand up there. Will the mob from the West become one of the dominant teams of the AFL? Or will it be Port Adelaide who will take out the 1990 premiership? This should be a great game. And the 1990 premiers are... it's the West Coast Eagles. The West Coast Eagles are your 1990 AFL premiers in this save. Join us next time as we look forward to season 1991. Season 1991 was a few changes from 1990. Like, for instance, Warwick Kappa went back to Sydney for 1991. Rod Owen left St Kilda to go to Melbourne. Steve Newport went the other way to St Kilda. This is the year in real life saw the West Coast Eagles take place top 2 for the first time in their AFL careers. In real life, this is the year the Adelaide Crows got into the competition. Just like they did in real life, they will begin the year against Hawthorn. Footscray will tackle Collingwood, the Saints will have the Tigers, and Eagles will have Melbourne in round 1. While the other games are Ballarat versus Fremantle, Carlton versus North Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney. Fitzroy will have Port Adelaide, while Essendon have got Geelong. Let's sim up to round 23 to see who will make the 1991 final series. Will it be the same story, or will it be completely different? Let's see who wins out of Adelaide or Fitzroy. It's the Crows. As they make finals again. Let's look at the ladder. It's the Bulldogs who win the minor premiership this year. As Footscray got a completely different team right now. Collingwood looking to back up for their 1990 preliminary final loss. Are back in the finals. While Port Adelaide have dropped down, had a bit of a slight drop off due to injuries and also to Russell Johnston's retirement. The Eagles had a bit of a slight drop. The Bombers, Crows, Roos and Hawthorn make up the rest of the 8, while St Kilda just miss out by a point. And we finally see Ballarat get some wins. It's good to see the Celtics are on the board at long last. They get their first win ever. The Dockers finished 17th. Oh dear. Things are not looking good on the Fremantle horizon in 1991. The Bears finish a disappointing 16th in 1991. Just a year after they made the 8. They've made some questionable decisions this season. Although they managed to end up keeping Norm down for one more season. That is a costly mistake. Although in real life, he was replaced by Robert Walls halfway through the year. As for Richmond, they had this fairy tale run last year, and now they finished 10th. The Celtics win their second wooden spoon in a row. Let's check the goal kickers. Hang on a bit, let's go back to the ladder before we check the goal kickers. Things are not looking bright on both. Ballarat, they need to make some good trades heading into 1992 if they want to be at least competitive for the near future. The Swans, they did get a little bit better and went a few steps better and finished 14th in 1991. Carlton, man, they finished 13th. The biggest surprise is Footscray. Two years after look like they've died a slow death. The Footscray members had run on around with 10s to save their club. And it's starting to pay off. It's paying dividends right now for the Bulldogs. Man, Melbourne! What's happened to them? Same with Geelong. What's happened to the 1989 grand finalists? Man, it's an off year for the clubs. North Melbourne finished 7th. Man, the team's getting a bit better. As they got Carey taking the next level, along with Longmire. As for the Crows, however, man, it still finished a disappointing 6th in 1991. Due to other teams being slightly better than them. They need to do a bit better in 1992. As for the Bombers, meanwhile, they finished 5th in 1991, under the coaching of Kevin Sheedy. As the Bombers, so they're going to be having a very good youth academy going through with the likes of James Hurd, Mark McCurry, Joe Massini, Dustin Fletcher, Ricky Olorenshaw, David Calthorpe, and a few others. They're going to be pretty well set up for the future. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, they're also going to be looking set up for the future. Although they haven't been the same team since Russell Johnston left. And now we check the goal kickers for 1991 to see who is leading each club in goals. See who's leading your club. The Crows' best goal kicker in 1991. Oh, it's Tony Montra! Man, this guy's on the rise. 74 goals in 1991. Chris McQuaid not far behind with 56. It's a pretty impressive season. As for the Bears, meanwhile, it's Brad Rowe. And yeah, he's going to Collingwood next. He's going to Collingwood next year. He's kicked 67 goals in 1991 for Brisbane. I reckon that'd be enough to impress the Magpie recruiting staff. Collingwood's leading goal kicker, meanwhile, is Peter Dacos. The Macedonian Marvel has kicked 67 goals in 1991. St Kilda's leading goal kicker. Would you believe it? It's Craig Davenport! 61 goals this season! 14 in front of Plugger! How did he manage to beat Big Tony? Carlson's leading goal kicker is Ian Aitken with 58. Let's go to Fremantle, meanwhile. It's Scott Edwards again on 52 goals. I think Scott Edwards is doing pretty good for himself in this scenario. Hawthorn, meanwhile. The guys leading their goal kicking is Dean Anderson, Noah Anderson's dad, with 67 goals. Melbourne's is... Oh, it's Glenn Lovett with 58 goals. Essendon, meanwhile. The man leading the line is Anthony McDonald-Tipperwoody with 65 goals in 1991. Ian Fowley's done it again at North Melbourne, but this time with 70 goals. He's turning into a legit forward or something. The Celtics' leading goal kicker this season is... It's Ryan Oliver with 42 goals. Shane Fowler, he's the recruit of the year for the Celtics just about. Came across from Sydney. And another star recruit for the Celtics was Kane Hockley, coming across from the Brisbane Bears. Fitzroy's leading man is Brad Davis. 49 goals. Port Adelaide's leading goal kicker. Oh, David Brown! 67 goals! Oh my word, look at that, Jared Young! 57 goals in his first year! And he's got 7 goals better with 64 in season 2! Wow! What a set! What a year! And although Port Adelaide had a bit of a downer this year, Darren Smith's got 61, Troy Bond 66, Scott Hodges on 53. There is breaking news going on at the Ballarat Celtics. Lachlan Brown has had enough of his side. Although they won 2 games this season, he's had enough of playing alongside Cameron Caldwell. He wants to go home. He wants to go back to South Australia for season 1992. Anyway, back to the goal kickers. At Footscray, it's Bill Cracker, who leads the goal kicking with 73 goals. Geelong's leading man is Gavin Exel with 59 goals. Swans' leading goal kicker is Paul Kelly with 62. Warwick Capper's kicked a disappointing 33 in his first season back at Sydney. West Coast Eagles' leading man is Peter Wilson? 69 goals! How did Peter Wilson manage to do it? Meanwhile at Richmond, the man who's leading your goal kicking is Michael Pickering on 62 goals. Matty Greenwood's 29 behind with 33 in 1991. Let's see who wins out of Footscray or West Coast in the first qualifying final. It's the Bulldogs. Man, it's a shock. Footscray beat West Coast in the qualifying final. Maybe this could be Footscray's year. Port Adelaide or Collingwood? Who takes the chocolates? It's Collingwood! As Collingwood Magpies get their revenge from 1990. They got their revenge on former player Wes Fellows. Essendon or Hawthorn. Who gets it done? It's Hawthorn. They go through to yet another round. Essendon's season is over at this point. At this time. It's a disappointing finals run for the Bombers. Crows or the Kangaroos? Let's see if the Crows can keep up from 1990. They can keep up their form in the 1991 finals. Let's see if the Crows can keep their good run, keep their run going from late in the season. Alex Scott still hasn't had a game yet. As for one of the other players, Shay Hiscock. Oh dear, she's still waiting on the wings. She's had a great season at Nord this year in 1991. Sorry, Adam Hamilton, you're gonna have to have a rest this week. Gotta give Shay a run as a forward, as a player. So that means Michael Reddon's going in the ruck this week. Reddon is going in the ruck for this game against North Melbourne. And who wins? It's the Crows. They win by 19 points. To book a semi-final against Port Adelaide. The showdown semi-final. Could the Crows end the Port Magpie season on the spot, or will Port advance to the preliminary final? West Coast will place Hawthorn. It was the grand final in real life in 1991. Unlike real life, Hawthorn are gone. West Coast knock him out. So that means it's all over for Michael Tuck, Robert DiPiero-Domenico, and John Kennedy Jr. They all retire after this game. It's the end of an era for Hawthorn. Could they still back a charge in 1992? That is the thing. Who wins out of Port Adelaide or Adelaide? It is... Oh, it's Port! Port go through by 1 point to the preliminary final to face Footscray. Port Magpies are going through to face the Footscray Bulldogs in the preliminary final. Hawthorn's 1991 Hawthorn and Adelaide, their seasons ended on the spot. At the hands of Port Adelaide and West Coast, two of the grand finals from last season. And now, on for the preliminary final between Footscray and Port Adelaide. And Port make it back to the grand final! They are back! Back in the hunt for 1991. Collingwood face the Eagles. Season over for the... What a remarkable season for the Bulldogs. They were the minor premiers just 2 years after it looked like they were going to roll over into Fitzroy. What a comeback story for Footscray. Hope you can do it again in 1992. It's a feel-good story this year for the Dogs. As for Collingwood, meanwhile, Brad Boyd is in to make his debut this week. And they're out. Collingwood are out. So we got the rematch of the 1990 grand final between West Coast and Port Adelaide. They're going to face each other again. Can the Eagles go back to back, or will Port get payback from last year? What happens next? It's and they lose by, and the Eagles go back to back. That's the second time in this scenario the West Coast Eagles are your AFL premiers. Can they make it back to back to back in 1992? Will they be a legit dynasty? It sounds like a dynasty is brewing at West Coast in 1991. After they won in 1990, they've won it again the next year. What has Mick Morehouse done to this team? He's turned it from a team, well, who were trying to find their feet, into a legit force in the AFL. And we'll see you all for season 1992. 1992 would be a year of change compared to 1991. One of the biggest changes of the year was Greg Williams, as he would swap Sydney for Carlton on a 5-year deal worth around $250,000 a season. Well, things were a bit different in 1992. The reigning premiers start off on the road in round 1 against Melbourne, which is the West Coast Eagles. Let's send the season up till round 23. And now the last game. Dear me, the Crows. They're having a torrent time this season compared to what they had in 1991 and 1990. They tackle the Celtics and they win by 189 points. It's not enough to make the finals. The Pies and the Saints will face each other. Cars will have North. Footscray got Melbourne, while West Coast will tackle Collingwood. Now let's check the ladder. There is a change of wooden spooners, as the Dockers now finish bottom. The poor old Crows have finished 11th, without any use of port players. As for Ballarat, meanwhile, they finished 17th on the ladder. It was a slight improvement for 1991, winning 4 games. Hawthorn, at the other hand, it certainly is the end of an era. It was a poor season from the Hawks in 92 compared to what it was in 91. As for the Swans, meanwhile, they finished 15th. Although they won the bottom, although they finished 15th in real life that year in a 15-team competition. Essendon, meanwhile, have finished 14th in 1992. Surely 1993 is going to be the year the Crows take it to the next level. Surely. Fitzroy would finish 12th in 1992. While for Adelaide, meanwhile, the 11th was their best position for the season, while the Bears, meanwhile, on what would be their last year at Carrara, finished 10th on the ladder. While the Cats, although they made the finals in real life in 1992, didn't do enough. As ninth is their best finish, is their finish for the year. Now let's check the goal kickers. He's led the league in goals. Adelaide's best goal kicker is Scott Russell on 51 goals. It was a down year. The Bears, meanwhile, their goal kicking leader is Rod Owen with 66 goals. Collingwood, their leading man is Sav Rocker on 70 goals in his first year. Oh, come on down, Sav. Hawthorns is Ricky Nixon on 53. St Kilda's best goal kicker is Stewie Lowe on 61. The Eagles, Brett Hetty with 73. Dogs, Chris Grant 59. North Melbourne's best goal kicker, that's John McCarthy with 65. Fitzroy is Alistair Lynch on 64. Essendon, David Calthorpe with 54 goals in 92. Melbourne, that honour goes to Sean Flintoff, 56 goals in 1992. Ballarat's best goal kicker is Wilson Keeble, 50 goals. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, their best goal kicker is Darren Smith on 66, while Jared Young, in his third year, has kicked 62 goals. Justin he'll keep making leaps and bounds for 1993. Richmond's best man is, well, unsurprisingly, it's Justin Pickering. Although he left the team in real life that year, just kicked 59 goals. Sydney's best goal kicker is Leon Higgins with 48. Well, it was a down year for the Swans. Carlton is Adrian Gleeson with 64. The Dockers, and their best goal kicker is Scott May on 47 goals. On a struggling Dockers outfit, winning just 2 games. Geelong's best man, it's a tie between Andrew Wills and Robert Scott on 59 goals. Port Magpies will face St Kilda in the qualifying final, and the winner of that one is, well, it's the Magpies going to the prelim, while the Saints got another chance. The Eagles continue their winning ways by 58 points. The Roos season is over as Carlton would effectively end their year on a sour note. The Dogs and the Demons, who will win this one? It's the Dogs, as they go through to the next round. After defeating a determined Determined Demons outfit. In trade news, Lachlan Brown is done with the Ballarat Celtics. Doesn't want to be there in 1993. The Blues end St Kilda's season on a sour note. Collingwood tackle Footscray. The Bulldogs go through by a kick. To seal Collingwood's fate. After 2 consecutive prelims, the Magpies have been eliminated. Port. However, Footscray's juggernaut run comes to an end. For the 2nd year in a row, Port Adelaide will go through to it in a year. And once again, it's the Magpies who go to the grand final to tackle it's the Eagles once again, as Carlton's 1992 campaign is over. Whose year is it this year? It's Pites! It's Pites' year this year. That's the Magpies. As the Magpies finally get over the line and bring the premiership to South Australia, beating the West Coast Eagles by 20 points. As Port have got something to look forward to in 1993 to see if they could defend their crown. That will do it for season 1992, and we'll see you in 1993.